This is a breaking news alert by Light and Game Design. We return to the Cloud City of Columbia, where wanted criminal Booker DeWitt has broken into the most dangerous specimen laboratory. This is the most dangerous specimen in the city, and Booker DeWitt must be stopped at all costs. Well, because the specimen is just a lovely young woman. With magical powers, of course.
Whoa!
My name is Adam, and this is Light and Game Design. I'm here to analyze video games from my unique perspective as a professional lighting designer. I'm hoping that this will inspire you on your own game design journey. Please subscribe, as I'll be releasing new videos often, and there are many spoilers ahead. Welcome back to part 2 of our in-depth look at Bioshock Infinite. If you haven't seen part 1, I highly recommend that you check out the link in the description below. First, we need to explore why our protagonist Booker DeWitt has ascended to the Cloud City of Columbia. It seems that Private Eye Booker DeWitt has a pretty serious debt problem, and he needs to wipe away the debt and bring his new clients this special girl.
Who's there? Who's there?
Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt!
What do you want?
We had a deal to it! Open this door right now!
I told you! I'm not gonna do it!
This girl is Elizabeth, Father Comstock's miracle child that is kept locked up in the giant Columbia Tower.
Yeah, that's where they said I'd find her.
Telegram, Mr. DeWitt.
Huh.
Telegram for you, sir.
DeWitt, stop. Do not alert Comstock to your presence. Stop.
You can see here how Father Comstock uses Elizabeth as Columbia's miracle child propaganda because she truly has miraculous powers.
Opening a tear.
Oh, shit! What is that?
It's a tear. I used to open them all the time in my tower.
What is a tear?
It's like a window. A window to another world.
Let's take an in-depth look at Booker's arrival to Columbia Tower. It's clear from this composition that Monument Island used to be open for visitors. The Monument Tower sign was once celebrated with shiny lights that are now broken and overgrown with ivy. The sunlight falls through the tree leaves, and flashing red lights give us our first hint that there is trouble in this perfect city of Columbia. As Booker DeWitt breaks into Monument Island, we will experience our last rays of a perfect Columbia sunset. You can see these rays of lights on the Statue of Columbia. Columbia is actually the female personification of the United States of America. That's why Washington, D.C. is called the District of Columbia. Unfortunately, we are in the Cloud City of Columbia, an alternate racist America. Inside, we find the same Statue of Columbia in the dark. Our eye is drawn to lights on the specimen is dangerous and do not approach the specimen sign. Inside, the lights are flickering and there are sparks from a machine, indicating that large power is being used for some nefarious purpose. We see here do not speak to the specimen is not even lit except by flashing sparks, and our eye is drawn to the siphon machine. This siphon machine is used to keep Elizabeth from escaping by draining her magical powers. We even discover this red light that pulls us into this very dark room of pictures of Elizabeth hanging. We can even see Elizabeth dressing in one of the pictures. This is a real perverted look at the research going on for Elizabeth. In this room, we see a white projector that is not projecting anything, but we can tell at one point there were science presentations about our prisoner Elizabeth. In the specimen viewing chamber, there's a stark white light that stops as soon as we pull this lever. The lights dim to dark so that our specimen, Elizabeth, can't see us behind the mirror, spying on her. Elizabeth is lit in a golden light and is the brightest thing in our composition. This emphasizes the angelic nature of Elizabeth. In the next viewing chamber, we begin to realize how perverted spying on Elizabeth is. I mean, ultimately, Elizabeth is a white slave here in Columbia, a slave to propaganda and her miraculous powers. Let's see Elizabeth open a tear, which is going to start with black and white colors indicating that it's another dimension. She opens a tear to 1980s Paris, and the tear resolves to vibrant colors quickly. A fire truck steams towards Elizabeth, and the flashing lights are even in Booker DeWitt's room, making it look like the fire truck could crash right into them. Let's watch Booker DeWitt's crash landing introduction to Elizabeth.
Hello. Hey! Knock it off! Stop it! Will you stop it? Not here to hurt you.
Who are you?
My name is DeWitt. I'm a friend. I come to get you out of
Get
here.
away! Are you real?
I'm real enough.
He's coming. You've gotta go.
Why?
You don't want to be here when he gets here. Just a minute, I'm getting dressed.
Elizabeth is acting like an abused child, and she's absolutely terrified of Father Comstock's arrival. Let's freeze frame on Elizabeth about to whack Booker DeWitt over the head. The brightest light in the composition is actually on the Columbia Tower, emphasizing that Elizabeth with her magic powers is the Columbia of the United States of America, yet she's trapped here in the racist city of Columbia. You can also notice a hot red light on her face. That's coming from Comstock's statue, and it shares his overbearing nature on her. And most importantly, Elizabeth is about to whack Booker DeWitt with the principles of quantum mechanics, which is actually the physics of light, her magical powers. Now, quantum mechanics, or quantum physics, is actually really complicated. But I want to start really simple and make sure that you guys understand Elizabeth's magical dimension-hopping power. In advanced science laboratories, when we look at light, it behaves very differently than it does in the real world. This is the double-slit experiment, where light is shined through two tiny slits, and on the wall it makes an interference pattern and not the expected shadow of two slashes of light. One would assume that each photon of light ends up going through either the left slit or the right slit, but it actually goes through both at the same time, showing us that light can exist in multiple locations, multiple timelines, and of course multiple dimensions. Now, Bioshock Infinite extrapolates quantum physics from the absolute microscopic into this real-world floating city, and here's Elizabeth lecturing Booker about quantum particles.
At least she, invented the technology that allows the city to float.
Giant balloons.
Quantum particles, suspended in space-time at a fixed height.
So, not giant balloons?
It's a way out!
Now, Elizabeth and Booker are making an escape from her prison cell, and you'll notice red flashing lights have alerted us that we have a sense of urgency because we've gotten caught. Something big is crashing into the Columbia Tower, and every single light is swinging. White light accentuates all of the debris falling from the ceiling. But what is it that could be attacking this Columbia Tower? It must be huge, right? Here we see a claw scratch through the wall, leaving giant scrape marks that cast cold white light right into the room. Booker and Elizabeth even run through these lighting slashes, making sure to emphasize that Elizabeth is running quickly to escape. And this is a dark moment where Elizabeth gets to see behind the scenes that she's been a slave.
What is all this? They were watching me? All this time? Why? Why did they put me in here? What am I? What am I?
You're the girl who's getting out of this tower.
Elizabeth is outside for the first time in her life, and she climbs the tower to the top, only for the tower to collapse beneath them. I really appreciate the bright blue sky and sunlight here as the tower collapses. It reinforces that Elizabeth and Booker have actually made an escape, and for the first time in Elizabeth's life, she's almost free. This is Battleship Bay, Booker and Elizabeth's first stop after freeing her from the tower. It's a beautiful image with beautiful sunset dusk lighting and a beautiful blue sky that makes every shadow a deep violet.
Hey, I'm looking for a young girl.
Who isn't, brother?
Booker finds Elizabeth dancing and celebrating her newfound freedom, as she says that this is absolutely wonderful. Well, the design has to match that emotion, and you'll notice that in the shadows we have blue color and we can see everybody dancing with double their height in the composition.
How about Paris?
Paris? I don't understand. How could we get there?
That's where that airship's going, but if you want to stay and dance, we can...
No, let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go right now.
As Elizabeth and Booker decide to go to Paris, they approach the Lady Airship ticketing booth, and this is where we get our glimpse of the fascist police government here in Colombia. They approach the security checkpoint, which has a well-placed spotlight isolating each person as they're searched, looking for Booker and Elizabeth. The spotlight is a stark white color that contrasts the warm behind the security gates. Elizabeth and Booker stop at the arcade, which has this great chasing light in the ceiling, being a wonderful place for kids to play. That is until Elizabeth starts to point out the dark parts of Colombia.
I swear, the service gets worse here every time we come back.
Why is one bathroom for colors and the other for whites?
It just is.
Seems like an unnecessary complication.
This is the horrifying reality of Bioshock Infinite. Colombia is a city that celebrates whites and punishes and enslaves the coloreds. There's a well-placed window with a beautiful sunset light coming through. And the interior of the bathrooms is high class, marble, beautiful lighting, wonderful graphics. In stark contrast, the employees only, or colored bathrooms, are in this hallway. They have the same well-placed window, but this time it's a cool blue that's very depressing. Let's take a look inside the bathrooms. The colored bathrooms are absolutely disgusting, and you'll notice that there's a broken light flickering because there isn't maintenance happening here. This city just doesn't care if you're not white. Elizabeth and I arrive at the ticketing booth for the airship to Paris. I want you to see this beautiful sunlight coming through the skylight, and everybody's looking at us. This is a real moment of tension as the sound design is just tick-tock, tick-tock. As Booker and Elizabeth are exposed, combat breaks out for the first time in front of Elizabeth. This combat takes place within this skylight. That's a real interesting contrast between violence and beauty. That is until the skylight slams shut and we're left in the dark. Suddenly, a police spotlight pops right on, casting shadows of all the jail bars right across the room. As the room is flooded with Colombia police, they're backlit by this spotlight. This puts their shadows long across the ground, and you can watch the animations of combat being much more dramatic, almost twice the size because of the oppressive spotlight. As Booker and Elizabeth continue their journey to escape Colombia, Elizabeth warns Booker, and we see the Comstock statue in that same red-orange glow that's so threatening. The songbird has just landed on top of us, and we're about to see the songbird for the first time. Notice the songbird is silhouetted through the window, with his searchlight eye looking for Elizabeth. All of the lights in the room have now gone dark as the songbird has broken them. And as the songbird flies away, we get a beautiful sunlight again. So now that we have the entire city of Columbia and a giant songbird attacking us, Elizabeth and Booker decide to visit the gunsmith, Mr. Lin. Unfortunately, Mr. Lin is missing as we arrive at the gun shop, and we take a look at it, and it seems that someone's worked this place over. Perhaps the fascist government. You can really appreciate the moonlight coming through the clock tower and emphasizing all the negative space that Mr. Lin has gone missing. It appears Mr. Lin is having a very bad day as we discover this recording of his interrogation by the fascist police. I appreciate the harsh white nature of the projection light as it spills in the room, making this very intimidating that we have to find and rescue Mr. Lin. After fighting our way through the police station, Elizabeth and Booker arrive at this button in the basement for an unexpected shock moment where we turn on the lights and find Mr. Lin dead. This is one of the most dramatic moments in the game, and you can see that Elizabeth is mourning Mr. Lin's death. Let's listen to Bioshock Infinite as the two scientists arrive and begin to explore the powers of Elizabeth.
Now we need to find someone else to make those guns.
No.
Dead is dead, Elizabeth.
Dead is dead.
How the hell did...
I see heads.
And I see tails.
It's all a matter of perspective.
Why are you following us? Who sent you? Comstock? What do you want
What
from...
do you see here, from this angle?
Dead.
Listen.
And that angle?
Alive.
Booker. Chen Lin.
This is becoming rather awkward.
The body's gone.
It was never here.
It's another Columbia.
A different Columbia.
The same coin.
A different perspective.
Heads.
Tails.
Dead.
Alive.
We have to go through to this other Columbia, but how?
It's like riding a bicycle.
One never really forgets.
One just needs the courage to climb aboard.
This is a pivotal moment in the game where Booker and Elizabeth will cross into another dimension to get another Columbia. This is how they plan to resurrect Mr. Lin from the dead because he's not dead in the other Columbia. As Elizabeth opens the portal, you'll notice that the entire room becomes black and white and Mr. Lin is gone. This black and white color is a beautiful way to show us the portals and tears opening. Now watch the colors resolve from black and white to the vibrant color of the room. This Columbia has a very big difference to it. There's actually a lot of prisoners here in the jail cell that weren't there before. You can see the backlight casting their shadows of them banging against the bars, and we're about to step into a revolutionary war in the alternate Columbia. We return to Mr. Lin's gun shop hoping to find him alive, but unfortunately, the fascist police of Columbia have already killed him yet again. We were too late. This is one of those moments where there's extreme violence contrasted with beautiful lighting. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it has to be beautiful.
You must think me some sort of freak. A girl who can bring dead men back to life. Whose only acquaintance is a giant bird creature. It must seem ridiculous.
You just got dealt a bad hand.
I am not going back to that tower no matter what happens.
Notice as we descend the elevator to the slums, there's a beautiful green light that's coming from the Fink manufacturing sign. It's contrasted by fires and trash cans with people trying to stay warm. But it shows the overbearing nature of Fink manufacturing and that everybody down in the slums is actually a slave to this flickering light. The slums continue this wonderful color palette of teal green and fires. There's no sunlight this far down on the city, and everybody is trying to keep warm. You can see the flickering firelight on the walls. And here a couple of well-placed spotlights share this evil fascist torture of men being put into stocks. As Elizabeth and Booker arrive at Comstock's house to kill him, there's an extremely violent thunderstorm with beautiful lightning, and everything is blue and very mysterious and dark. And that's when the songbird attacks, and his green eye shifts red, knowing that he's finally caught Booker DeWitt. And this is the moment that the Songbird is able to capture Elizabeth and separates Booker from Elizabeth. As Booker continues his journey back to Comstock House, the storm has intensified, and we're getting these incredible blue lightning flashes that I had to share with you. They're changing the color of the skies almost ultraviolet. But that's when the Songbird begins to attack again, so Elizabeth opens a tear to a different dimension of Columbia. This time, we're in a snowstorm, and that's how Booker knows that he's safe from the Songbird, because the Songbird is not here.
It's alive. Elizabeth! Can you hear me?
We discover that Comstock House is actually a prison for research experiments. You can see here a wheelchair and a perfectly flickering light behind it, as well as candles been placed in this bathtub by one of the prisoners. This contrast of color is really wonderful and spooky. The Comstock House is filled with broken windows and snow, and almost feels like it's been abandoned for years. You can see here one of the enemy actually uses a searchlight that Booker has to dodge in order to kill him.
It's a tear. What is it?
Why do you ask what?
When the delicious question is when.
Lives, lived, will live.
Dies, died, will die.
I love how the scientists are always in a flickering light. You can see them here disappear in a flash of light, and the blue backlight fades up behind them. Booker finds Elizabeth, and she's silhouetted perfectly in this doorway. That's for an unexpected surprise that he's actually talking to the Elizabeth from the future of 1984. Booker still doesn't understand that these tears are opening to different dimensions of Columbia, but they're also opening to different timelines. Watch how the elder Elizabeth shows us this alternate reality where Columbia decides to attack New York City in 1984.
The seed of the prophet shall sit the throne and drown in flame the mountains of man. Say what you will about Comstock. He was a hell of a fortune teller.
Elder Elizabeth opens a tear and returns Booker to Comstock's house. This time it's an immaculate condition with beautiful sunlight. There's no snowstorm, there's no thunderstorm. Elizabeth is actually being tortured and having her magic powers drained by another siphon. Notice here that Elizabeth opens a tear to another reality, one where there's a tornado, and she does it with a white flash. She uses this tornado to help stop the experiments and pain on her, and it shows how powerless the Bioshock Infinite scientists are to Elizabeth's power. A couple of well-placed flashes from these sparks show us the machine destroyed, and that the level designers want us to rescue Elizabeth immediately.
I got you, it's okay. Okay, I'm gonna fix this. You ready?
Just do it.
Here.
I'm the one who...
She's given us a way to get past Songbird. We're gonna find an airship and we'll leave
Booker.
Paris, Elizabeth. Remember, you wanted to go
We're
to...
not leaving. We are going to find Comstock.
Why?
You saw what he turns me into. I will not allow that.
And so what, you're going to kill him?
Is this where you start moralizing, Booker? You forget. I know you.
I'm not going to let you kill him.
Really? Booker? What are you going to do to stop me?
Not a damn thing. Because I'm gonna do it for you.
Notice the lightning flashes on Elizabeth from her tornado tear. We actually get like a third dimension effect by the lighting coming from her alternate realities. Father Comstock is violently attacking Elizabeth, and Booker literally kills Father Comstock, as we've talked about in part 1 of Bioshock Infinite here at Light and Game Design. Now let's listen to an interesting story point that's going to be critical for the endgame.
wife!
Booker!
You cut off her finger and you put it on me!
Booker, stop it! You killed him. What did he mean? Huh? You tell me, what did he mean about my finger? Get away.
We're looking at Elizabeth meeting Booker for the first time and see that her finger is actually missing. We're reminded of how insecure and abused Elizabeth was before she became a force field, dimension-hopping, lightning-throwing
You don't want to be here when he gets here. Just
goddess.
I'm getting dressed.
Get you out of here.
Elizabeth begins bringing Booker into different dimensions, and here she is at his office.
Bring us the girl and wipe away the dead.
In this reality, Booker DeWitt actually has a very dark secret.
What is this?
Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. Elizabeth is showing Booker the truth of infinite
Baby, and
realities.
if there was, I sure as hell wouldn't give it over to this guy.
Booker, you don't leave this room until you do.
DeWitt, time is running short. Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt.
The lighting is monochromatic here, which is the first time in Bioshock Infinite. This is a really dark moment in one of Booker's realities.
All this.
I can see all the doors and what's behind all the doors. And behind one of them, I see him.
Comstock.
The game designers force us to give the baby over to the Columbia scientists. It's a real heartbreaking moment, and there's some anger with Elizabeth about it.
Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt.
There was no baby. The deal was I go to Columbia to get you. Hey. Hey, the deal's off, you hear me?
Unstable.
The deal is off! Give her back! Give her back!
Fine, are you mad?
Give her back, you son of a bitch!
It's ready! Go!
No! No, no, no!
Shut down the machine!
No!
Shut it
Anna!
down! Shut down the
Anna!
machine! Now do it!
Give me back my daughter! No!
You see, the shock moment of the story is that Booker DeWitt is actually the father of Elizabeth. This explains why Elizabeth is missing her finger.
They're beautiful.
The stars.
We arrive at another lighthouse with beautiful moonlight highlighting the door and stars bathing everywhere. And Elizabeth begins to see that each star is another infinite reality where Comstock is still alive.
See? Not stars. They're doors.
Doors to...
To everywhere. All that's left is the choosing.
Booker and Elizabeth walk through the lighthouses, and you'll notice that light fixtures actually come up from beyond the water, beyond the watery grave.
All similar. Constant.
Elizabeth is trying to decide what reality to land them in, and she's searching for that one reality where there isn't a Comstock, where there isn't a Columbia, all done in this beautiful star lighting of the infinite lighthouses. They search all night for this one reality until this beautiful shot of sunrise on the lighthouses as we walk into the sun. Elizabeth returns Booker to a memory where he could accept the baptism or refuse it. And Booker refuses this baptism in this reality. Notice the same monochromatic lighting from Booker's office. These are the dark memories of Booker's alternate realities. And keep your eye out because it's going to resolve to a beautiful, vibrant, saturate color soon.
Wash this man clean. Father, make him
Stop
born
it.
again. Lord,
Stop it!
what are you doing to it?
Get off me! Get off!
Son!
You didn't go through with it.
Think a dunk in the river's gonna change the things I've done? Let's get out of here. Hey, these doors of yours, they're all tears, right? Well, open one up. Open one up to Paris. I want to be shut of all this.
Not until we find Comstock.
Comstock's dead!
No. He was here.
This is the ultimate spoiler for the ending of Bioshock Infinite. Comstock is actually Booker DeWitt, who accepted the baptism in a reality. Elizabeth knows this, so all of the Elizabeths from multiple realities work together to make sure that Comstock and Columbia never exist. There'll be no torture, no enslavement, no Cloud City attacking New York. This is Elizabeth's plan.
Before you are
And
reborn.
what name shall you take, my son?
He's Zachary Comstock. He's Booker DeWitt.
And both.
The many Elizabeths disappear as they're never born to either Comstock or Booker DeWitt. This is the ultimate sacrifice to prevent all this racism.
Will the circle be unbroken by and by, by and by? Is a better home awaiting in the sky, in the sky?
I hope you enjoyed a lighting artist's deep dive into Bioshock Infinite's story with Elizabeth. Please leave comments below and make sure you subscribe and share Light and Game Design.